I grew up without a dad, and now I'm trying to be something I never had. See, I never had someone to teach me how to shave, to teach me how to fix things, to have that birds and the bees talk with me. I mean, granted, I had my mother, right? But in which I am so appreciative of her. She tried her best, pero tú sabes, a mom relating to her son in certain areas no convive, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, mama tried her best, pero what did Tupac say? Finally understand for a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. And I that was an embodiment for me. See, but yeah, so I'm appreciative of my mom, but I never had pops to show me things, right? Nunca tuve, when I was in my little league games, never had pops showing up there, right? I was my mom, God bless Raul for being there in those moments too, right? And this here isn't to bash my father, right? It's just the reality of things, Thankfully, ahora con mi papá, we have a great relationship, right? And I love that guy, I love that guy dearly, so it isn't to talk down on him, it's just my experience, yeah. So I never had any of that, man. So I always looked up to, the Uncle Phils, right? The Carl Winslows, Danny Tanners, right? It's something that algo que quería yo, right? And having somebody like, Raul, which is my mentor, may he rest in peace, was just so valuable to me, Te puedo contar tantas cosas que me han pasado, I can remember this one time, man, this is, I don't know how long, I was a kid, but I used to love to write, just raps and things of that sort, right? And used to have one homie, if he watches this, he knows who I'm talking about. But we used to kind of just write together, and I'd give him lines, give me lines, etc., right? And I remember one time, Father's Day, right? He comes up to me, he's like, "Yo, man, they asked me, the church that we were attending as kids, he's like, yo, the church asked me to write something for Father's Day, right?" I remember him coming up to me and telling me that. He's like, "Yo, can you help me out?" And I remember telling him, like, "Yo, I can't help you there because I don't know what it is to have a father." Right? And he just looked at me like, "Oh crap," It was awkward for a couple minutes, and he just looked at me like, "Oh crap." But esa era mi experiencia. I remember making Father's Day cards at school, just coming home and giving them to mommy because that's what mommy was, right? And I me recuerdo de noches just staying up crying like, "Yo, ¿por qué? Like, why?" But that's just how it was, tuve que aprender cosas just by watching and doing and, quebrándome la cabeza muchas veces, And as I look back now, right, I can tell you during my teenage years, man, like, I grew with a chip on my shoulder, right, to the extent that I didn't really want to have anything to do with my pops, Like, I remember, we barely spoke in my teenage years, but I remember him coming for my high school graduation, right? And my sister woke me up, right? Because I just chose not to go to school towards the end of the school year, right? But, because I didn't need to. But I remember my sister wakes me up. She's like, yo, there's a surprise for you outside. Right? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Right? She's like, nah, come out. There's something over here. So I remember I go out to the lobby of the building, and I see him standing there. And my first thought was, yo, what are you doing here? And then it was like, damn, now I gotta give up the ticket from the people that I actually wanted to be at my graduation. And I was just like, I had this resentment, man. I was just angry at him. Like, yo, ¿dónde estabas when I needed you, bro? Ahorita ya, I'm graduating high school and I kind of figured things out. Like, I don't need you. Why are you here? That was my sentiment. And I remember having that conversation with him around that time too. But recuerdo que le dije, yo, I remember pointing to my mom, like, you gotta thank that woman because that woman is the only reason why I called you dad. So like, it was just like that. And like not having that dad there to a kid in general, like it really messes with you, right? But as a son, like, yo, I was messed up. Like, I was so messed up. I was angry. I want nothing to do with him. Now, to the extent that I hated being Mexican. Because it tied me to him. I had a lot of work to do after that. I remember my college years and post-college years. I remember reading a Bible verse, right, that said, if I recall, it was Psalms 112, right, and it says something along the lines that, his generations will be blessed, right? And I remember just thinking, like, man, how can, my kids be blessed if, like, I still have this animosity with my father, towards my father. And I remember just reading that, right, and making a conscious effort to just have some type of relationship with my dad, and took a long time because just working, just letting things out, airing things out, Pero le doy gracias a Dios que hice eso because now as a dad, I don't have that anger, that animosity towards him. No tengo eso, no tengo ese rencor. Puedo decir que I have a good relationship with him now. Estoy tan agradecido por eso because now my son, right, can say that he has a grandfather, that he can call, talk to, not just like my own father, but he has, my boy has all 4 grandparents, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing to think about. But damn, I just lost my train of thought. But that's a blessing to think about. But I'm thankful that I got through those feelings, right? Because when I found out that my then girlfriend, now wife, now was pregnant, lo primero que pensé, like, yeah, like, I'm happy, right? I was happy, but then, like, when it actually sits in, it's like, yo, how can I be something that I never saw? You know, how can I be something that I never experienced? How can I do things and be things that, you know, I never saw growing up, right? You know, and when people would ask me, right, you know, we chose not to find out the sex till my son was born, right? So prior to that, people would ask me, you know, what I would want, and I was always saying a girl, right? Because yeah, like, I love, you know, I love little kids, you know, particularly, like, I don't know, I just always wanted a daddy's girl, you know what I mean? But in reality, if I'm being honest with myself, it was because I was scared. If I had a son, I was scared, right? That one, I wasn't gonna measure up to what a good dad should be, and two, you know, like, I felt inadequate to teach somebody how to be a man. If I'm being quite honest here, right? Like, I felt like, yeah, I can't show somebody else how to be a man if I never had that, you know. And that scared me to shit. Excuse my language, right? Because how can you lead, right? Or how can you, lead if you don't know, you know, where you're going, per se, you know? And I knew if I had a son, I was going to have to face a lot of things. I didn't want to face. I had to heal a lot of things that I just didn't want to bother. I'm so thankful for my son. I'm so thankful. I'm healing a lot of inner child. I'm healing a lot of that inner child. Being able to play with him and showing him things and experiencing things with him, man. I'm able to heal a lot. I'm able to heal a lot of the things that I wanted as a kid. You know, him buying him, you know, matching pair of sneakers for him and I, and it brings me so much joy. Shooting earlier today, like, I love coming home to just play with him and hear him laugh, and now I'm seeing his character, right? His immoral there. And it's just so freaking amazing, man. So freaking amazing that I'm able to just grab my boy, hug him and kiss him and embrace him. Tell him I love him, man. And that he's it's like to grow up without a dad. All of that, man. See, it's just amazing to think that I'm not just raising him, man, but I'm also healing. God is using him to heal me. You know, and I think, right, like a lot, if I'm doing things right, you know, if I'm doing things how they're supposed to be, and I know I'm not, I'm far from perfect, and I'm gonna fail a lot. You know, and I tell myself, yo, you don't have to be Superman. You just gotta be present. You just gotta be present. That's it. Like, that's what I wanted as a kid. Just somebody to show up to my game. Somebody just that I can play cards with to teach me things, and that just be there, you know? And that's all I could do with my boy. Just be there. Shit, and half the time, maybe 99% of the time, I don't know what I'm doing. What I do know is that, bro, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not walking away. I'm not. I'm here. And as I look back, right, honestly, being a dad doesn't scare me. It really doesn't. I think this is a role that I was just born to play, right? Not showing up for my wife, not showing up for my son. That terrifies me. We can't let that happen, right?